Hey guys, and welcome to episode 1 of my brand new series, Master of PVM. So in this series, there's going to be 3 main goals that I have to achieve to ultimately end the series, and those are getting Final Boss, or even Insane Final Boss if I eventually go for that. And then the second goal is to get every single boss drop from every boss. So for example, well, not every boss, but for example, I have to get every single, Bandos item from Bandos. And then likewise with Vorago, I have to get a wand and orb. And then, obviously, that's pretty much all Runescape has. Now, I won't be including every single boss, because I won't be including, like, KBD, I won't be including Mole, I won't be including Kalphite Queen, just because their rare drops are very lame, and it's not really something that's really interesting for anybody who wants to see me go hunt thousands of Kalphite Queen for a D-chain. It's really not the most entertaining thing I could do. So the third goal that'll allow me to do those really crappy bosses is I have to get every single boss pet as well. So I know other people have done this type of series before, but this is just for me. It's more of like a passion series because I really like PVM, and it's more of like an end goal that makes me PVM, makes me a lot of money, and it's really fun to do as a series. And the third goal, getting every boss pet, is going to take forever because I am including the Vitalis pet, and I'm also including the Bombi pet, which both take considerable amount of time, especially the Vitalis. That's ridiculous. I have to get extremely lucky, or it's just going to take a long ass time. Now in this series, I'll just be going over the bosses I did per episode, tell you guys the drops, how many kills. I'll have some really nicely edited slides in the middle of the episode, and then possibly a price check every episode. I don't know if I'm going to do a price check every single episode, but for the first one, at least, I will, just for the fact of doing one. But to start off the series, on screen, I am doing some Kalphite King. So this was actually the first boss that I did for this series in the beginning. And I did 100 kills the first night that I started. But we did do KK for a while. I think we were at 250 kills total. It wasn't our main priority, so we didn't do it all that much after a week or so. But early on, we did get an offhand Drygor, which was the longsword, which is actually the most expensive offhand. And that was on kill 25, so that's really early on, in my opinion, and we were all thinking, wow, we're going to get really lucky if we do this for a while. We're going to get super lucky, we're going to get so many Drygors, we're going to make tons of money. But sadly, we are dry for 225 kills now. Yeah, you heard it. I'm 225 kills dry from KK, and considering the drop rate's 1 in 40 or something like that, that's depressing. That's 5 times the drop rate. Obviously, that's not the worst I've ever heard for KK, but it's still kind of sad to see how dry we are. So we were fed up with it. We were done with KK. But as for actually killing it, I get about half the drops, so I get mainly all the charms. Now, the way I do that is I use the Karis method, which you use the Karis sword dagger thingy and the Desert Ambi 3 or higher, and you get really good DPS with it on Kalphites. So it's really good on the KK. And if you're ever doing melee DPS on this boss, I recommend it. It's very nice. And I also couple that with the Slayer task, so I get really good damage on the KK. So yeah, for most part, I do get all the drops. But we do 4-man the KK. I know that's kind of weird. That's a lot of people, but I just feel like it's a lot better because you get more drops per hour, more kills per hour, and it's just a lot easier. I don't know. A duo, I could still duo it, but I just feel like 4-manning is still very profitable, and it's funner that way. You have a lot more people to talk to, if anything. But moving right on to the next boss, this was the Rise of the Six, and I cover this in a different series, so I don't need to talk about it all that much in here. I'm just going to go over it in the series just because it is a goal and it is a boss. I have to go over it just for the fact that it's part of the series. It's just I'm covering it in a different mini-series that I've already started. But anyways, I did get 2 shields in the time that I did Rots since I started the series. And those 2 shields were sadly the worst shields, but it's still cool to get a shield nonetheless. There were 2 Vengefuls, and I still need the other 2 to finish, the goal in the series. And that series also is the same goal of getting all the drops, so that's kind of cool. And if you're wondering, I don't know if I'm going to include the Rise of the Six pets, the bobbleheads. I don't know if I'm going to include that for boss pets because it's not really a drop. It's just I'm spending 40 mil for, just a bobblehead. I don't know if it's really worth my time and worth my money. It's all up to you guys if you want to put your input on that, if I should get the bobbleheads or not, or maybe even just one bobblehead. I think that's fine. You don't really need to get every single bobblehead. But personally, I would really not want to spend 40 mil just on a little pet like that. And then after that, the third boss that I did in this series, I did some Armadyl God Wars, which I didn't really focus on. I just did it every now and then when I was bored and I wanted to do an hour of Arma, and I just felt like, I could get a decent amount of progress so far in the series for it. And actually, I got okay luck. I wasn't the luckiest person ever at Arma, but I got some decent luck here. So to start off, I got an Arma helm on kill like 45 or something, so that's not too bad. I thought it was going to be a lot more, but it only turned out to be like 600k. And then after that, like 45 kills later, I got a buckler, which I actually got really excited over on stream during that drop. And everyone was like, why are you getting happy at a buckler? I was just really happy to finish a crappy drop early on rather than having to be forced to go for it at the end. Like I don't want to get every single Arma drop, and then be forced to hope for a buckler. Like, who wants to hope for a buckler? I mean, that's not a fun life to live. But besides that, I did get a chain skirt later on as well. So we're at 3 drops in roughly 140 kills. That's not too bad. I also got an effigy during the kills as well. I don't have the recording, but still, it's nice to get an effigy every now and then. And to finish off this episode in terms of boss kills, I did the top of all bosses, which is the Vorago boss. So I actually recently started this boss, like not even a month ago, and it took me a while to learn it. So I did spend a long time on this boss. That's why most of this episode has been focused on Vorago, and that's why I didn't get as many on the other bosses as I could have. I just spent way too much time on Vorago, but I'd rather do that. It's a really fun boss, and I have the chance of getting a wand split, which is like 100 mil. It'd be amazing if I could, but to break it to you guys, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing at Vorago so far. Well, I did get a Triskelion key piece, but, big whoop. Like, honestly, it's a big whoop. Right now, I'm only at like 48 kills, and I say only pretty lightly because at 48 kills, I should at least have gotten 1 drop, like based on the drop rate. I know that's not how drop rates work, but it would have been nice if I could gotten 1. I mean, 50 kills almost is ridiculous to not get a drop, and all my friends are getting drops, so it's kind of demoralizing that way. But I'll get a drop eventually. And the reason why I didn't get a drop for this episode is because I would do like 7 to 10 kills every day, just over and over basically, and hope to get a drop, and then I would get nothing, and then the next day, basically, I would do it again, get nothing, and it just over and over, I got nothing, so I'm like, I'm done, I'm not doing it anymore until later on. Now, I'm not the best at Vorago, so don't say that I'm terrible. I mean, I know I'm terrible, so we'll just get better at Vorago over time. But that's basically the entire episode in a nutshell for the bosses. Let's move into the slides, which I spent a long time editing, and let's see where I'm at in terms of the bosses, stats, and the pets. So the first boss that we talked about was the Kalphite King, which I'm at the 250 kills, like I said earlier, and we are at 1 offhand longsword. So pretty dry here, like obviously pretty dry. We could have expected maybe 3 Dragors, but it's all good. We'll get lucky eventually. We'll see. Maybe next month or next episode even, I can get really lucky. We'll just have to keep on bossing and see where I can go. After that, I talked about Rots, which I'm at the 194 kills and, almost 300 energy and the 2 shields. So pretty self-explanatory there, and I go over that more deeply in my mini-series, so if you want to go watch that, you can probably find it on my channel easily. And then the third boss was Armadyl, which I'm at the 140 kills. I'm at 3 out of the 7 items, which is pretty nice just to start off. And really, I'm going to get all of the items eventually. It's not really a problem for God Wars, at least, because to get the pet, it's like an expected value of 2,500 kills that I have to do to get the pet on average. So with all the thresholds and everything, so I'm not expecting to get it anytime soon. So I mean, getting these drops are nice. It's just nice to get them over and done with, though. And finally, here's my Vorago screen, which I'm at 48 kills, like I said earlier, and yeah, nothing. So that kind of sucks. Hopefully in the next few episodes I can maybe add a wand or maybe 10 wands. Maybe I'm stretching it, but 10 wands would be nice. That's like a bill. But either way, the 2 items on the right are the pets. So the top one, which is like the ball looking thing, is the Bombi pet, which you can get by doing the Maul of Omens on every single hard mode Vorago rotation. So that takes like 5 or 6 weeks of preparation, and you have to be really good at hard mode, and then it's a 1 in 20 drop rate after that. So it's not too hard to get. It really is not the hardest thing ever, but I will eventually get it just by doing Vorago over and over and over, get better. But the Vitalis on the bottom right is going to take forever. Its drop rate is 1 in 5,000, so I cannot expect that anytime soon, considering I don't even get that many drops at Vorago to myself anyways. But, over time, I'll get more chances to get the actual pet, and it's not really a worry for me. I love Vorago right now, and I plan to do it for hundreds and hundreds of kills. So maybe we'll get lucky and get a pet. You never know. So here's the pet slide. You might be wondering why they're all transparent looking, and that's because when I actually get the pet, I will make them full color, full opacity, everything like that, and it'll be like really obvious if I've gotten a pet. So that's why I did it that way. And the reason why the Araxor pet on the bottom right, on the bottom left, I mean, has 0 out of 8, and the Legions has 0 out of 6, is because the Araxor has 2 boss pets that you can get from the Araxor egg drop, which was released with the boss pets. So that's 2 right there. And then when Araxor was released, it had 6, just in general pets to get. So you have to get one from a random chance, so it's really rare. They have 5 other skins that you can get as well just by doing challenges on Araxor. So it's going to be a lot easier than you think. I need to get 3 rare drops basically, and then the other 5 are just from being good at Araxor and doing those challenges. And then for the Legions, obviously there is 6 Legions to get. So honestly, this goal is going to be the longest goal of mine, other than maybe Insane Final Boss, even though it kind of coincides with this. But Final Boss is going to be easy just by doing all these things. And then obviously getting all the boss drops will come as well. So this is like the main goal, getting all the boss pets. So it's more of just a fun thing to do. I don't really need any of these pets. I really am not even a pet person, but it's kind of cool just to get these, you know what I mean? And finally, here's the stats page. So it tells you all of the information that you really need to know. My experience I've gained, the time it's taken, the kills, like the total boss kills, and then the charms that I've also gotten, and then the scales, the effigies, and the full Triskelion. So if I get like 3 fragments, that would be 1, and if I get a full key from Vorago, that'd also be a 1. So I'm actually at 1 fragment right now, but I'm at 0 full keys. So in this one episode, I did spend 50 hours doing bosses, and most of it is from Rise of the Six, because I spent like 8 hours getting no kills, just learning it. And then obviously charms are a lot. Like, I know charms are not the greatest at bosses, but they do add up. Like, just in one episode, I've gotten 1,000 of each of Crimson and Blue, and I will be getting a ton of those from KK, Tormented Demons, Glaciors, and Nex. So that pretty much concludes the entire episode in terms of drops, the bosses, explaining everything. I know it took a long time, and I know I'm talking a lot this episode. It's just, for the first episode, I have to get everything out and then familiarize you guys with everything this series has to offer. So let's go into the price check and see how much I've made in this first episode alone. Alright, to keep this simple and quick, I'm just going to show you my tab instead of actually price checking them individually. I don't know why my Bone Crusher's in there, but it's kind of disorganized. I'll probably organize it eventually, but this is, most of the loot. I do have some other items in my other tabs, but most of this, well, pretty much all of this cash is from Vorago. It's because I take the splits in coins other than the energies. I just take the coins from the regular drop splits. And then I have yet to get a wand, but eventually this probably might be like a 100 mil cash stack or something like that. But yeah, that's basically the tab. It's pretty straightforward. I got my rare drops. I do have my own Arma in there, so that's why it looks like that. And then, yeah, that's basically it. So I actually price checked the tabs on my own time, and it turns out that the values are 21 mil from KK, and that's roughly 84 mil from the actual total price check, but I'm splitting with 3 other people, so 21 mil to me. The Rise of the Six loot is 120 mil, so that's most of my money from the series so far. And then from Arma, I'm at 9 mil. And from Vorago, I'm at 16 mil. So that all adds up to 166 mil. So if you do my hourly rate, that's roughly a little bit more than 3 mil per hour. I know that's very, very low, but a lot of it's coming from Vorago making me like no money right now because I didn't get any splits. Plus Arma, I don't make that much money at Arma either. Not to mention KK, I was extremely unlucky as well. So, I mean, the hourly rate will be a lot better later on, but for right now, it's just really bad. So yeah, 166 mil in this first episode, and I had a lot of fun doing it in, the 50 hours of PVMing. So you can probably expect a new episode every 2-3 weeks. I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing. So if you like the series, definitely tell me in the comments like what you thought about it, any feedback, any criticisms. It would be great to see you guys' feedback and see if you guys are enjoying this series. So this was a great start to this awesome End All series, and I hope to do a lot more in the future. But that is all for me today, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.